Good afternoon. My name is Janet Fitch, and I'm a resident of Contra Costa County in Pinole, California, just north of San Francisco. First, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to join you and share with you my thoughts and concerns about wild horses and burro management on U.S. government land. I'm here today as a concerned citizen and volunteer ambassador with the American Wild Horse Conservation. As a concerned citizen with a passion for the protection of all animals, I believe that the BLM and the Forestry Service can and should improve the way they manage federal funding and resources to protect wild horses and burros. There are better ways to help preserve these beautiful and wild animals than with the predominant usage of helicopter roundups. This practice is incredibly severe on the welfare of these animals and have proven to be deadly and inhumane year after year. There is a better way. Respectfully, I would urge you to recommend to end the cycle of capturing and removing wild horses and burros from their natural habitats and shifting the focus to sustainable, non-invasive management solutions that allow these animals to live freely on the land that they have inhabited for centuries. I was also disappointed to learn that less than 1% of the BLM annual budget for another year was spent on humane wild fertility control, with the vast majority of its budget spent on feeding horses in holding and on these helicopter roundups. As part of improving humane management, the BLM should refocus its resources to implement humane fertility control programs on a larger scale to prioritize in the wild conservation efforts, including water and habitat restoration that promote long-term health for both animals and ecosystems. With nearly 66,000 wild horses in holding facilities, it's clear that a systematic change is needed, and I would ask that you make this your top priority. The current processes are not only detrimental to the well-being of these animals, but they are also not sustainable at all for Americans who ultimately pay for their care while in holding facilities, now more than $150 million a year. With a population this size and a price tag this big, there needs to be a radical overhaul to the current management practices, and I say that the time has come. It just doesn't make sense to me why we continue to round up the horses and burros to live the rest of their lives in captivity in corrals, some of which do not have any shelter from the direct elements. Thank you again for taking public comment today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Tracy Wilson, and I'm the Nevada State Director for American Wild Horse Conservation. The BLM has stated that it needs to reduce wild horse populations to AML before fertility control will work. But the reality is that getting to AML and holding it is an unattainable goal with the agency's current plans, and it's costing taxpayers millions. There are 45 HMAs at or below AML, not including those that have been recently gathered to within AML. How many of those have meaningful fertility control programs started? 1. Used when over AML, every birth prevented with fertility control is 1 less horse removed, which is 1 less horse at risk for entering the slaughter pipeline, or 1 less horse requiring taxpayer funding to be held in long-term holding for its lifetime. In FY24, BLM treated approximately 1,038 mares with fertility control at the cost of $5 million. In calendar year 2024, we treated 1,202 individual mares for $355,000 on the Virginia range alone. We've seen a 72% decrease in full births and population not just stabilized, but in decline. And through a collaborative grant program with BLM, AWHC, and a rancher, we are administering fertility control to mares in the Cedar Mountain HMA. The BLM grant program helps start fertility control programs, and we need those grants to continue. The BLM can take measured steps to get off the treadmill and not do this forever by reallocating resources and flip the status quo from primarily helicopter roundup management to primarily fertility control management. In conclusion, I ask the board to recommend that the BLM take steps now to reform its current management program by significantly scaling up humane fertility control programs and continue grants to nonprofits to continue the programs, both new and already in place, even while in areas above AML. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Hayes, and I'm a conservation scientist with American Wild Horse Conservation. We were recently invited by the BLM to a discussion on fertility control methods, and they asked for our input and thoughts on each proposed methodology. We sincerely appreciate this collaborative step, and through this, we were able to explain our criteria for evaluating all these methodologies, and I wanted to share with the board since the BLM found them very helpful. We're specifically looking for humane, effective, reversible, minimally disruptive, cost-effective, and scalable solutions. I think it's crucial to note that as the science stands now, there's no humane, effective, and scalable mare sterilization technique. The science that has been proven to work, has been proven to be humane, effective, and scalable is immunocontraception. I want to stress that fertility control is scalable. The Virginia Range program in Nevada has over 3,500 horses and over 300,000 acres and has a proven successful fertility control program and has resulted in population reductions. The first 4 years of data from this program was peer-reviewed, published, and presented at the World Veterinary Association Congress last April. It's very simple mathematics. Every foal not born is one that does not need to be managed or potentially cared for in long-term holding for its entire life. I asked the board recommend the BLM start fertility control programs at the 45 HMAs that are already at or below AML, and switch the focus to humane, effective, reversible, cost-effective, and scalable solutions. As someone so astutely put, we need to get off the treadmill. This solution does not require room at long-term holding facilities or an increased appetite for horse adoptions. And I want to thank and recognize the board for the time and the hard work you guys have put into this, and the vocal support for fertility control that's already been said. I think collaborative solutions are truly the way forward. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Catherine Theus, and you might be sensing a theme. I'm also with American Wild Horse Conservation. I'm here today to urge you to recommend substantial reforms to the BLM and Forest Service wild horse and burro programs. The current system is unsustainable and costs both the taxpayers millions of dollars every year and the lives of these federally protected animals. There are better, sustainable solutions. First, we must stop the cruel and brutal cycle of roundups. These inhumane practices cause immense stress, injury, and often death to wild horses and burros. Instead, the focus should shift to sustainable, non-invasive management solutions that allow these animals to live freely on the lands that they've inhabited for centuries. Second, prioritize in the wild fertility control and habitat conservation. Implementing large-scale humane fertility control programs and protecting natural habitats are key steps towards sustainable management, and AWHC has proven this is possible with our fertility control programs of wild horses out in the Virginia Range and Cedar Mountain. Third, we must evaluate non-lethal solutions to address the growing population in holding facilities. Repatriating wild horses to herd areas capable of sustaining them is a viable solution that this board should recommend. Many herd areas that have been zeroed out for wild horses remain open for extensive livestock grazing. Fourth, abandon cash incentives in the AIP. Cash incentives funnel animals into slaughter auctions, putting them at extreme risk. Veterinary vouchers or non-cash support would ensure proper care without incentivizing exploitation. Fifth, call for an independent investigation of the BLM's adoption and sale program. Transparency is critical to restore the lost public trust, and an external agency should review current practices to ensure no animals end up in the slaughter pipeline. Finally, until roundups are permanently halted, transparency and accountability are essential. I urge you to require cameras on roundup helicopters and wranglers. This measure will ensure contractor accountability, humane practices, and uphold the public's First Amendment right to observe government actions. The path forward is clear: sustainable, humane, and cost-effective management that modernizes these management programs. I respectfully ask you to lead the change by recommending flipping the model and managing wild horses in the wild, not cruelly rounding them up and removing them. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.